The essential question of the New York Times Company versus the United States was, did the Nixon administration's efforts to prevent the publication of what it termed classified information violate the First Amendment? The Pentagon Papers were a secret Department of Defense study of the U.S. involvement in Vietnam from 1945 to 1967. These papers were illegally copied and leaked to the press. The New York Times obtained the documents but received a temporary injunction from the U.S. District Court prohibiting them from publishing the papers. The New York Times appealed with the U.S. Supreme Court, arguing prior restraint, aka preventing publication, violates the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. argued that the publication of these papers would set a dangerous precedent for future cases. The New York Times argued that the First Amendment guarantees the freedom of the press and that the press must be free to inform the people of the current status of the government. The final verdict? 6-3 for New York Times Company. The court decided the government did not overcome the, quote, heavy presumption against, end quote, and that the First Amendment overpowered the vagueness of the U.S.'s argument. More recently, in Nebraska Press Association v. Stewart, the Supreme Court used the New York Times ruling to allow the press to publish facts of the murder trial of Erwin Charles Simmons. The court conceded, however, in saying that the only base facts could be printed, excluding any implicative material. This case and the New York Times case both show how the First Amendment can be in direct contrast with the federal government and how the court must evaluate each side of the case.